Welcome to the Kelly and Erinn Show. We're so glad you're here.
We're a mother-daughter duo and founders of Kelly's Bake Shop. We built a nationally recognized brand, faced unimaginable challenges, and have chosen to rise again and again, all in the pursuit of a life aligned with truth, freedom, and love.
Each week, we're sharing real, unfiltered conversations about entrepreneurship, healing, and expanding through personal growth, and choosing joy, even when life gets tough.
This is your invitation to come home to yourself. Let's get into it. Good morning. Welcome back to another episode of the Kelly and Erinn Show. And today we're coming to you from sunny, beautiful, very, very hot, gorgeous Arizona. And we are so excited to be here. And we thought we would, do a podcast episode from here and just kind of reflect on our journey here, that we've been here for the last 5 days. We're going home tomorrow, and just share maybe some of our realizations and just our experience as we've been here.
It is a beautiful place. We are right now in the Boynton Canyon vortex area of Sedona. So it's so magical. My dreams at night have been wildly mystical.
Totally.
Like on a whole other level that I've ever experienced in my life. But right now, Erinn and I are, maybe we should turn the camera around, but where we are right now, you have to see this.
Okay.
You guys are going to be able to.
I'm going to show you guys here. I hope you're going to be able to see this. So this is what we're looking at right now. The sun is just coming over these gorgeous mountains right now, and it is literally spectacular. I know for those of you guys just listening on audio, you're not seeing this full picture, but for those of you on YouTube and Spotify and all that, you guys can see it because it is so spectacular. For those of you that maybe don't know much about Sedona and Arizona in general, is that it is red. Like it literally looks like you're on planet Mars when you drive into Sedona. It is the most beautiful, magical place. And like what you're saying, Mom, it has actual spiritual vortexes here, that the energy is so strong and we're actually looking at one of them right now. It's absolutely incredible.
When you slow your life down enough and immerse yourself in nature and immerse yourself in this, something that you don't normally do. This is what we always say about how do we break pattern? How do we break our life, break it up so that we're not just constantly doing the same mundane thing, that when you do that same thing every single day, well, you're just going to get the same results every single day. So, we challenge ourselves to infuse ourselves with something different. And this time when we chose Arizona, it was really because losing 401 Brant Street in Burlington has been a very big hit for us. The rest of you, life goes on as usual. But for us, we went through a lot of things, from laying off staff, from losing all of that cash flow, from losing all of those incredible customers, and the memories is all we have right now. And we had to move through all of that, almost like a grieving process. And of course we have Oakville. Of course we do. But there is a process to come out on the other side and feel like, okay, I've infused myself with that courage and with that confidence and with that whole new perspective. Right? This is what we're here for, is establishing a whole new perspective and zooming out to the truth of our existence here. So when you're hanging out here with these incredible canyonscape and mountains, I mean, it's canyons, it's vortexes, like you cannot help but get transformed and get hit with something that is bigger than you.
Absolutely.
So this is what we're getting from it right now. And this is why, we're only here for 6 days and we've accomplished so much.
It actually feels like we've been here for about 3 or 4 weeks now.
It does.
When I reflect on, oh, wow, when we started this back in Phoenix and drove up here and did this and did that, I'm like, wow, that feels like that was about 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Isn't that crazy?
It's incredible.
Like I feel like we've been staying here for now, it's at least the 4th or 5th night, where we just finished the 2nd night. And both my nights of dreaming, like I said, were so different. People from my past, big time, coming through. Like we're talking like 20, 30 years ago.
That's wild.
Coming through my life, like, and just chatting, having conversations. Like it's been really, really awesome, actually.
Yeah, totally. And I think too, just like going back to just the reason why we've felt like we needed to come here, obviously with Brant Street closing, it's, that initial shock and that initial getting the news on March the 3rd and then having to move out of Brant Street on our final day being May 4th, the amount of adrenaline and the amount, like, our nervous systems were just completely shot. We didn't even have a chance to take a breath, let alone start to grieve 401 Brant Street and everything that, we had created and those memories and just everything that we had, done within those beautiful four walls that had housed Kelly's Bake Shop. So for us, this has just been an opportunity for us to take the moment to pause, take the moment to reset and to realign ourselves as we step forward. And yeah, we thought, what better place than beautiful Arizona with so much incredible spiritual history and these gorgeous spiritual vortexes and, I mean, incredible scenery too, to come and be around. And we both also love this gorgeous dry heat in the desert. It has been over 100 degrees every single day that we have been
Yeah.
here.
It's like living with an infrared sauna. And of
Yeah.
course, like, you've got your room or, other buildings or whatever to go into with air conditioning if you need it. But, the mornings are so magical because we've been getting up at 5 o'clock and we kind of hit the ground running because we know that that's the time to be out on the trails. And it's about 70 degrees then. It's perfect. And you're catching the sunrise and the stillness. And I think that is what I love so much is the sheer quiet and the aloneness. And then all you're left with are the thoughts of your own, like, coming through you. And then you get to challenge them. And, are these thoughts even real? Are they just thoughts that are coming from the outside construct? Like what is really real? And you get to sit with all of the things that you're challenging yourself with or shaming yourself with or feeling bad for or feeling grateful for or whatever. But you get to identify with the truth of your existence, like the reality of what you're really going through. Because all of us can put us into this, I'm going to say, a sassy path of, feeling sorry for ourselves and feeling victims and, oh, poor me, I got screwed over again, or, all these things. And it's like, but how did you get screwed over? Because you are the participant in your life. You are the activator of your life. And I believe that we actually brought on the closing of 401 Brand Street now that I get a chance to look at it.
Okay, so why? So dig into that a little bit. Why?
Well, I don't think that. I mean, for myself, I know that there were times that we were talking about, like, things needing to get updated, things getting worn down. We
Yeah.
actually had the place for 13 years. And, the way that we had built it out 13 years ago was kind of like,
Spitting chicken wire a little
yeah,
bit?
yeah, kind of like that, right? Of like it, what financial backing and that mindset to do it again now, it would be a very different, polished, different business. Not that it wasn't polished, but I think that we get a chance to reinvent ourselves because really in hospitality or really in any business, you have to reinvent yourself every 7 years. And if you don't do it, you're not staying current with the the momentum of
Yeah.
of how business is created, and you have to keep on infusing it with new things. So, we were great at marketing, we were great at doing, and we are great at doing all of that stuff. But I think there's a time now needed for this, an invention of a whole new dazzling aspect of Kelly's Bake Shop. So these ideas now, because we're having this freedom, and this is what I wanted, was freedom. So to go back to what you're asking, I believe that I was asking for this freedom.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
It's interesting to have that perspective
Mhm.
because to look at it, like you're saying, not as a victim, not as saying, oh, poor me, oh,
Mhm.
this happened to us, we're so sad, all this stuff. Of course, we can be sad about all of this, but to look at it and to have this awareness and to have this reflection and this realization to say, wait, actually, this didn't happen to us. This happened for us.
It did. It really did.
Yeah.
And I know I'd be up on my, like, I've got, you guys have seen me on my property up north there. I'm working away on it and stuff. And that's healing for me, as much as a lot of it's hard work, but that space has been required to go into that creative mode. And be it if I'm painting or working in the garden or baking in the kitchen or whatever, that, you're creating and birthing something. Like, I can feel that there's something really big and really so mind-blowingly epic that's flowing through me right now,
Yep.
and then flowing through, you as well, that
Of course.
we're birthing something that is so big. And it couldn't be done if we still had 401 Brant Street. And that is my realization, that there's almost been this shift, turn, blow up. And then, we get to see clearly through all of that debris going, oh, this is why 401 Brant Street closed down.
Yeah.
Got it.
Isn't that crazy though to think that on March the 3rd when we received the news at 2:22 in the afternoon with an email on March the 3rd to say that you have 60 days to get out of Brant Street.
Right.
And that initial like shock, that initial fear, that initial holy shit, how are we going to do this? Like I basically almost collapsed on the floor. I was just like so overwhelmed and so
Yeah.
paralyzed with fear, saying, how the hell are we going to do this? How are we going to navigate this? How are we going to tell the staff? How are we going to tell the customers? And you instantly go into this fear mode of like crazy town. But then to now, I guess, what is it, 3.5 months later?
Oh, since March 3rd, we got the
right?
notice.
Like 3.5 months later to say, whoa, okay, like to have that realization and to have that understanding and that awareness to say, okay, you know what? This is actually the best thing for us because it's given us this opportunity to pause and to reflect and then to take that next beautiful step forward.
It is. We're here.
And that's so cool. And I think something that, being here in Arizona specifically, I mean, I love traveling. I love being in new places and I love the creativity that I feel within myself being in a new place because it's very easy for us to go throughout our daily routines and it's kind of like Groundhog Day every single day, right?
It is.
But to, like you would say, Mom, break pattern and to get out of your daily life and to actually go somewhere beautiful. And, and you don't have to go to Arizona, but maybe go for a walk somewhere, get out of your daily surroundings and just like reset yourself. I find it's been so healing for me and such a grounding experience to be here just through everything that we've been going through.
Breaking pattern allows you to speak to the collective consciousness that's out there, right? And I believe that we are witnessed, like we are witnessed by, without getting too weird on you guys, but we are witnessed and we are embraced by energies that are much bigger than us. And the more we think about what we think we need and we try to control what we think we need, you're going to get actually more of that. And it's going to keep you in a very lower vibrational state because it's keeping you in that state that's your comfort zone. And you don't get to challenge yourself to grow and expand to become something bigger. So what I love doing, and we've done this so many times now, is really jumping off into the deep end and not knowing what's going to happen. You have no support. You have no support group. You sometimes have no financial backing. You have a lot of things that are, most people would say, what the frig are you doing? But when you do that, for me, I feel like it creates something like a whole new vortex of energies and paths and quantum living that you never felt possible. Like you might have that end goal of where you think you want to be, but there's always divine paths and divine plans that's so much bigger than what you ever could dream of. So if you think that in your illusory state, you think you have control of your life, you freaking don't. You don't have control of anything about it. So all you can do is keep your frequency high, choose another path, choose yourself. Just choose to put that step in front of the other. Just knowing that you want to create something bigger that's, bigger than what you ever dreamt possible, and allow these opportunities to come to you, because that's the magical state is not knowing how it's going to turn out. You can only like when we took on 401 Brant Street, we had no idea what it was going to be like.
No,
we were terrified to pay $5,000 a month in rent and have like over 3,000 square feet in space going from Little Kind Food.
We said, we're never going to fill this space. Oh my gosh, the space is so big. We're walking. We have to go here, like walking from here, this section to this section of the business. And we're like, oh my gosh, it's just so big.
And we couldn't get financing for it.
And we filled it up in probably a year.
But what we did though, is my point is that we didn't know how it was going to turn out. And we just knew in our hearts that it was the biggest thing that we really wanted. Like we wanted to give back to the world. We wanted to create this gluten-free, vegan, allergy-friendly thing. And we just trusted that we were going to be supported with it. And then what happened was, we broke pattern completely and we just stepped into that deep end. And it was, something so magical. But now I believe that there's this reinvention needed.
Okay, so let's talk about Sedona now. Let's change gears a little bit. Let's talk about Arizona and just the creativity and the beauty that has been surrounding us. And you were talking about this last night a little bit more.
Well, I'm a firm believer that when we live in uninspiring places, i.e. concrete jungles, no greenery in your backyard, front yard, buildings are kind of square concrete towers, houses all look the same, everybody's the same color gray, cars are white or black or silver. There's not a lot of color going through our lives now, and there's not a lot of beauty going through our lives now. I mean, you go to Europe, and whenever we've gone, it's jaw-droppingly, Italy to France to, different places that we've gone to. And they keep these buildings that are 600, 700, 800,000 years old, these cathedrals, these towers, these gorgeous structures, and flowers and trees, and everything has this beautiful historical beauty, And even America, like where we're looking at right now, these like jaw-dropping scenery that we're looking at. And this is the stuff that a human being needs to be inspired with. Because when you're living in that concrete jungle, like, I mean, let's just call Toronto, like, asphalt, gray concrete towers. You might live on the 68th floor. You come downstairs with your dog. He goes to the bathroom in the little, square little 2x2 little fake grass turf. He goes back up the elevator again to the 68th floor. Like we're talking like, what is your, when Toronto has completely decimated all the historical buildings, Burlington, as we know, decimating all the old historical buildings, removing that quaintness and that intimacy and that community. And this is how we live in Canada, most of us, because we're all being ushered into, the city climate, like density, density, density. Let's bring in more people. Like we need to do that because into the city cores, because it makes it easier for cities to service people if you've got, 120,000 or 1.2 million, like, same stuff, right? So like, let's just make it denser and make them live on top of each other, right?
But is that really living?
And it's not living. And this is what I'm trying to get at, is that for us, we made the decision to live about an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on traffic or whatever, but north of our businesses, because we get that acre or 3 acres or whatever to be on, like be with nature, be able to escape the grids of, whatever, the traffic jams and the grids of hydro and all the stuff. Like you just get to be away, and all you hear are the birds chirping, and you're with the trees and you're with nature. And it's in those moments that you cultivate creativity. It's the only way creativity flows. It cannot flow otherwise. You have to be detached from it. You have to immerse yourself into nature and into beauty. It's proven our brains work so differently when we are immersed in beauty. And this is why I just want to say, this is what 401 Brand Street, Kelly's Bake Shop to us was, how do we make it so beautiful? Between our beautiful staff, who were so welcoming and kind and loving to people, and people that could sit there and they could pause and they could shift their life. And that's what we've always wanted, is for people to be able to shift gears, shift their life, shift their perspective, and move into a mode of creativity, move into a mode of love, move into a mode of, oh, I am connected to something bigger than just myself and my little pea brain that keeps on giving me negative thoughts all the time. No, I actually am meant to be hiking. I'm meant to be hugging trees. I'm meant to be sitting with the birds singing in the morning. I'm meant to have this space. This is how we are meant to live, with beauty and with space.
So with that, I love everything that you're saying there. So I'm going to ask you a question then. So what vision or maybe insight have you kind of realized about yourself here that maybe you wouldn't have realized if you were at home? Like, is there something that you've, just realized with yourself?
I think that, I realized within, so it's a repeated thing for me, in that I like to think that how I look at this world, for me, my job is just personal growth. And what I mean by that, it's not a selfish thing. We all should be working on personal growth. And what I mean by that is that we are not here to save the world. And I mean that with all kindness. We are not here to save the world. We are here to pass through, and we are here to be just embody the best version of ourselves, which will then multiply out into the world. When we embody kindness, when we embody love, and we multiply this out into the world, it's a ripple effect. But that's my job. And what I've learned from here, from being in, the Boynton Canyon vortex and Sedona, and even when we were down in Carefree, Arizona, but more so here, this is jaw-dropping, is that I am such a small blip in this world. And it's a reminder for me that I am not here to save the world. I am only here to embody the best version of Kelly, and that's my job every single day.
Yeah, and I think, we put so much pressure on ourselves because we think that we're so important, that our life is so important and everything that's going on in our life is so important. But when you reflect back in a beautiful, expansive space, like what we're looking at right now is just insane. I wish that the lighting was better so we could actually
Mm.
record it that direction, but like it puts so much in perspective for you, you know?
Instantly.
It really, really,
It's
really does.
it's a humbling experience, and to take that all in, like, even when we were walking through the vortex this morning and we were up the side of that canyon, and I actually started to get really emotional, and we were hitting cold air and then the warm thermals we were feeling, so we could actually feel, like, you could actually feel the vortex, guys. It's jaw-dropping, and I actually felt my chest, like, start to open, and I held back. Maybe I shouldn't have, but I held back because I really felt like I wanted to cry. I could feel this emotion come through me for how vast this is. Like, this world is such a big place. And I just want to add this that, if there is whatever 7 billion, 8 billion people or whatever on this planet, to put this all in context, the world is so big and they make us think that we're so overcrowded and we're not, and that we should be accepting it. But did you know that the whole population of the world, let's call it 8 billion people, could live in the state of Texas, and everybody, all 8 billion people, would get 2 acres and the rest of the world would be empty? That's how vast this world is, and
Yeah.
how we've been led to believe that we need to live on top of each other. And I really would love this episode, as much as we didn't start out this way, but this episode to be about choosing differently, choosing a different perspective. Do I really need to live the way that I'm living? Can I not challenge the norm? Can I not challenge my life and the path that I'm on, and jump into something that it might be scary, but it could be the best path you're taking to break that pattern, and watch what happens to you when you get supported, when you change your path, when you change your pattern that you've been on. Every day can't be Groundhog Day. You're never going to get anything different in your life. You won't. You won't attract anything different. And what brings you joy? Follow that path.
So, what are you going to do different then from being here? Is there something that you can bring home that's going to, I don't know, like change it up a little bit? Because for me, it's like this, like being out here in the desert and giving myself this opportunity to pause. It's like I didn't realize how much I needed a change of scenery for myself, because it's like it's a lot, like what we've been moving through. It's been a lot, and then managing staff and managing customers and managing just moving our business and closing our business and like all of that stuff. Like there's been a lot of
Putting everything
pressure.
into storage.
There's been a lot of pressure that I've
Yeah.
felt within myself, that I didn't really realize how much I needed this personal space and this opportunity to just see something else and just be somewhere else and get inspiration from other places. Because I think as entrepreneurs, we're so conditioned to just be constantly giving so much output all the time and be doing, that it's hard sometimes to actually receive this, like to receive this stillness and to receive this beauty that we're seeing here in, just Arizona and whatever.
Mhm.
Like it's beautiful,
I love that.
you know?
And I know you have, because, you work yourself right to the bone, as almost in a sacrificial way, if I can offer that in a way. And this is our reminder that we have to honor ourselves, because we aren't here to save the world. We are just passing through. And I think that those are really important words to remember, that if we take on these causes and these fights and this illusion that we're all really being conditioned to think that we have to be involved in, there's another side to that. And the side is holding that space and holding ourselves such a high level of frequency of love and kindness, and dropping the divide and loving one another, acceptance. That surrender is so powerful. And we need to take a break from the path
Mhm.
that we think that we need to be on. And that's what you're saying, is that when you took that break that you've been on, that path that you've been on forever, and you didn't realize you needed it, and you resisted it
Yep. Well,
until you're here.
it's not even necessarily resisting it. It was just like there was no opportunity. It was just everything was going at 150 miles an hour, that there's no opportunity to pause, right? So I
Right.
think that's so, like it's so important. And like I said earlier, it doesn't mean that you need to go fly to Arizona to go take a break. So
Mm-mm.
reflecting on everybody that's listening right now, it's like, if you're moving through something that's been difficult and you feel called to rest, it's
Mhm.
like honor yourself, give yourself that opportunity to take a pause, because no one else is going to do it for you. And that's something that we're going to talk about in a future episode as well too. And you genuinely deserve to take that break and to take that pause and that rest, because that is all part of your journey. It's all part of your path. It's not like you're taking a break from your path.
No.
Taking that rest is part of the whole part of the path for you to actually feel more reinvigorated and to feel more connected to who you are, and so that you can be your best self um, moving forward.
You really deserve to remember
Hmm.
who you are, you know?
Yeah.
That we're all that valuable.
Mhm.
We're here for a reason. This fleeting blip of, if we're going to get 72 years or 76 summers or however you want to say it, like how long you have here. And what are you going to do with that time? Are you going to be just a taker that just takes and takes and takes? Or is there a way to give back? And the giving back could be as simple as I said, is just holding that space of love and kindness, getting yourself out of the city as often as possible, getting out of the hustle as
Yeah.
much as possible. We kind of, we're speaking to the people that are really within Canada, and you're living in an environment that is not conducive to your highest frequency. You cannot possibly attain a high level frequency of living in concrete jungle, concrete living, and not being immersed into nature. That's our biggest path that we need to be on right now, and it's intentional. And sure, you can be lazy, you can say, hey, maybe I'll do it next weekend. But breaking pattern might mean you don't get to put it off. You're going to do it this afternoon, or you're going to do it tomorrow morning. You're going to set your alarm for 5 o'clock, and you are going to drive or car share or whatever you guys have to do to get out of the city and find the closest nature park to go to and immerse yourself in that for an hour and just see the difference in your day when you break that pattern that you would normally never do something like that. So don't put it off.
So to leave everyone with this, we thought it would be nice to leave everyone with just a reflection point, maybe something that you want to journal or something you just want to think to yourself today as you move through your day. So what would I hear if I gave myself 15 minutes of true stillness today? What would come to me? What would I receive? What would I be open to receiving? And just sit with that. Really, really sit with that thought as you move through your day.
I love that.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of The Kelly and Erinn Show. We're so honored that you're here and that you hung out with us today in beautiful, sunny Arizona. We're going to go and hang out and hopefully not get too much more of a sunburn today.
Yeah.
Kelly got a little bit fried.
Yeah. I'm not going to even show you guys. Yeah. It was bad.
It's a little much. But until next time, thank you so much for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, leave us a review on Spotify, on Apple, wherever you guys are listening. We're so grateful for your love and support. We'll chat soon.